Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about standard mileage method versus actual expense method. The IRS offers two ways of calculating the cost of using your vehicle in your business: the actual expense method and the standard mileage method. Each method has its own advantages and disadvantages, and they often produce vastly different results. Not to mention how much gig workers end up using their cars much more than the average American. So with that said, we are talking about everything you must know about each of these methods, some major differences between the two methods, and everything in between. But before we do that, let's go over a quick disclaimer. The content of this video does not contain, is never intended to be, legal, business, financial, tax, or health advice of any kind. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is advised that you conduct your own research and consult qualified professionals before applying anything you find online. Also, thank you to GigTax for verifying this information and making this video possible. Actual expenses method. The actual expense method is exactly what it sounds like. You would be tallying all of the actual costs that you encountered during the course of the year, that in which you used your vehicle for business purposes. Of course, these expenses will have to be business related to qualify for tax deductions. To use the actual expense method, you must determine what it actually costs to operate the car for the portion of the overall use of the car that's in business use. Gas, oil, repairs, tires, insurance, registration fees, licenses, and of course depreciation or the lease payments attributable to the portion of the miles driven that are business miles. There are some nuances about depreciation if you're using the actual expense method. The modified accelerated cost recovery system, or MARCs or MACRs or whatever it's called, is the only depreciation method that can be used by car owners to depreciate any car placed in service after 1986, which is pretty much the entirety of our car market, at least those of us in the gig economy. If you're using a vintage car to do gig work, why are you here? MACRs is the proper depreciation method for most assets and allows for greater accelerated depreciation over longer time periods. This is beneficial since faster acceleration allows individuals and businesses to deduct greater amounts during the first few years of an asset's life and relatively less later. However, since we're probably going to run our cars into the ground much faster as gig workers, that might be an advantage depending on your situation. I know the topic of depreciation is overall a complicated one and it's not for the average gig worker, so I will save the finer details of this for another video. Let me know in the comments if you would want to see this kind of video in the near future. Standard mileage method. The standard mileage method is where instead of you calculating all of the costs of the gas and the repairs and otherwise that it takes to use your car for business purposes, you would use the number of business miles that you have driven throughout the year. To use the standard mileage rate, you must own or lease a car and you must not operate for more than 5 cars at the same time, as in like you're operating a fleet, which most gig workers aren't. Not have claimed a depreciation deduction for the car using any method other than straight line, which again, that goes back to MACRs. Not have claimed a Section 179 deduction on the car. Not have claimed the special depreciation allowance on the car. Not have claimed actual expenses after 1997 for a car you lease. And if you are to use the standard mileage rate for a car that you own, you must choose to use it in the first year the car is available to use in your business. Then in later years, you could choose to use the standard mileage rate or actual expenses or otherwise. But if you're going to use it at all, you must use it first. And if you're leasing your vehicle, you must use the standard mileage rate for the entirety of the lease period. That includes renewals if you choose to use it at all. Each year, the number is going to be different and will require you to accurately keep track. But for the year 2023, you will be able to write off 65.5 cents per mile driven for business purposes. And for 2024, you will be able to write off 67 cents per mile for business purposes.
That's like so much work. It's so much math. Can't I just just guesstimate the right amount of miles I drove and round it to something that looks like it makes sense?
That's a great way to lose money on your tax return, or worse, open up yourself to an audit. And besides, if you're using a mileage and expense tracker that does all of the work for you, you won't have to guesstimate because that's doing all of the work. You just have to swipe left or right on whatever miles you drove. I will also leave in the description the table available on the IRS website in case you want to see this video at a later date. You could see what is accurate during that year. Hot tip, if you chose to write off your miles, you could still write off a plethora of other expenses if they are ordinary and necessary to your business, such as health insurance, supplies, electronics, cell phone bills, software, mileage tracking apps, Spotify, YouTube Premium, travel, business meals, and one that people miss all the time, but not when they file with GigTax, tax prep fees. So I do have a few other important points that I do want to go over on this subject. Switching between methods. If you want to use the standard mileage rate in any tax year, you must do that during the first tax year that you use your car for your business. In later years, you could choose to switch back and forth between methods from year to year. If you use the actual expense method in the first year, you are required to continue to use this method for that specific vehicle in future years. Each year, you'll want to calculate your business both ways and then choose a method that yields the largest deduction and greater tax benefit to you. You could do this by using an app that your phone tracks your expenses and mileage, such as Everlance, QuickBooks Self-Employed, or maybe later in the future, GigTax is going to implement something on their end for mileage tracking, but that's at a later date. Parking fees and tolls. Other car expenses for parking fees and tolls are attributable to business use and are separately deductible, whether you use the standard mileage rate or actual expenses method. These methods are used for the vehicle yourself, not for where you leave or drive it. However, that speeding ticket you got for driving 90 in a school zone, or any traffic violation for that matter,
is never a tax deduction.
Don't be that guy. Now, some of us, especially using apps for mileage tracking, expenses, etc., like to push the boundaries and claim that certain trips are for business and claim certain expenses are for business, when in reality, you drove to the liquor store to get a bottle of wine for yourself and not for your business. This can get you into serious trouble with the IRS if you get audited, and you will have to face some serious consequences. So do yourself a favor, don't be that guy. Which method is better? As we said earlier, each method has its advantages and disadvantages, and they often produce vastly different results. The actual expense method may produce a larger deduction one tax year, and the standard mileage rate might produce a larger deduction the next. For me, I almost always use the standard mileage rate for my vehicle. My car is good on gas. I've only needed 2 larger repairs, and that wasn't even that costly to me. And sure, my insurance is more expensive than most due to my driving history and living in South Florida in general, the epitome of nightmare insurance costs, but not enough to justify a switch to the actual expense method. But that can also change in the future, and I would have to reevaluate my personal situation each year. There's no real answer to the question of which is better, because every person's situation is different and should be evaluated based on the expenses that took place during the course of the year, which is why it is so important that you consult with a tax professional and have a discussion with them on which is best for you during the course of the current year. It's important to evaluate your situation on a case-by-case basis, and GigTax is here to help. The approaching tax season is inevitable, and for every hour spent navigating tax season alone, you miss out on potential earnings, precious moments with loved ones, and expose yourself to financial risks. Recognized as the leading tax preparation service for gig workers, GigTax is dedicated to simplifying the process, saving you time, energy, and money. Founded by Joseph Mayo, a seasoned gig worker with 6,000 deliveries across 6 platforms since 2020, GigTax addresses the overlooked, overcharged, and the underserved needs of the gig workers in the financial realm. Driven Wyld subscribers can take advantage of an exclusive 60% discount on GigTax's tax prep, and if you act now, the first 3 registrations include complimentary tax preparation. I don't know if I was 100% clear on that last point. Let me say it again. Professional tax prep tailored to your needs.
Absolutely free.
Secure your spot today with GigTax using the description link below to register and enter Wild, and get back to doing what you do best, making the most amount of money in the least amount of time in the safest possible way. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.